Before you add an AI agent, map one real workflow from the event that starts it to the evidence that proves it is done. Not the polished version, not the future version. Map what actually happens. The inputs, the copy and paste, the decisions, the waiting, the exceptions, the handoffs, the owner, the output, and the current cost. Then decide whether an agent belongs in it. That order matters because an agent does not remove ambiguity. It runs into ambiguity faster. Start by naming one job in operational language. Use AI in operations is not a workflow. Prepare the weekly production exception report could be. So could assemble a supplier quote packet or turn an approved service request into a scheduled job. Give the workflow a start and a finish that another person can observe. The start might be a request arriving in a specific inbox with 2 required attachments. The finish might be a saved report, a database status, and a readback showing that the intended reviewer received it. If you cannot name the start and the finish, the workflow is still too broad. Sit with the person who performs the work and use a recent case. Keep the actual systems and artifacts open. Ask, what happens next? Then ask, how do you know? The first question reveals the sequence. The second reveals the real operating logic. Which source wins, what someone is checking, and where judgment enters. The US EPA's value stream guidance starts with a current state walkthrough before a future state is designed. You do not need a formal value stream map for every office process, but the principle is strong. Observe the present flow before you redesign it. Your first map needs 10 fields. 1. Scope. What job is inside this map, and what adjacent work is outside it? 2. Trigger. What observable event starts one case? 3. Inputs. Which messages, documents, systems, records, or fields are required? 4. Source authority. When 2 inputs disagree, which one wins? 5. Actual steps and handoffs. What do people and systems do, including changes of person, team, system, or medium? 6. Decisions. What questions split the flow, and who can answer them? 7. Exceptions. What happens when information is missing, late, conflicting, unusual, or risky? 8. Owner. Who is accountable for the final outcome? 9. Output. What artifact or system state must exist at the end? 10. Done evidence. What readback proves the output is correct and reached the intended place? You can draw the first version with 5 symbols. A rounded box is the start or finish. A rectangle is a task, a diamond is a decision. An arrow crossing a boundary is a handoff. A side path is an exception. That is enough. BPMN is a formal standard designed to bridge business process design and technical implementation. It can be valuable when the process becomes complex. It is not required before you can understand one workflow. A plain map that operators agree is true is more useful than a technically impressive diagram that leaves out the workarounds. Do not remove a step from the map because it looks unproductive. Record waiting for information. Record checking another person's work. Record re-entering the same data. Record searching across systems. Record corrections. Record the follow-up message sent because nobody acknowledged the handoff. Those steps may be where the cost lives. They may also point to a better field, clearer ownership, or a simpler process instead of an AI agent. Keep active time and elapsed time separate. 10 minutes of work followed by 2 days of waiting is not 2 days of labor cost. It can still be a serious throughput problem. For several representative cases, record active minutes, total elapsed time, wait time at handoffs, corrections, direct fees, and whether the case was normal or exceptional. Then calculate a basic monthly current cost. Monthly cases multiplied by active hours per case multiplied by the loaded hourly rate, plus direct fees and expected rework cost. If cases vary, use a range or calculate separate case types. Do not force a clean average onto a messy process. This is not a promise of savings. It is a baseline. After a pilot, compare the new workflow with the same measures and include the maintenance, review, failure recovery, and provider costs required to keep the system working. The normal case makes a good demo. The exception cases tell you whether the system can operate. Ask what happens when an input is missing, 2 sources conflict, the format changes, a threshold is exceeded, a request appears twice, a downstream system is unavailable, or a retry could duplicate an action that partly happened. A person handles it is not enough. Name the role, name the decision, name the evidence they need, name what resumes afterward. An agent needs to know when it does not have enough evidence to continue. Technical access tells you what the system can do. Business authority tells you what it is allowed to decide or cause. Mark each proposed agent action at one of 5 levels: read, draft, recommend, change internal state, or act externally. Sending, publishing, spending, committing, deleting, and other difficult to reverse actions belong in the last level. Do not assign one approval rule to every workflow. NIST's Generative AI profile says oversight and human AI configuration can differ with the application and context. For a first pilot, use the narrowest level that can produce a useful, checkable result. Read-only analysis or a draft often teaches you more than a premature connection to the live action surface. Now choose one loop. Write down the agent's exact job, allowed inputs, output, success checks, stop conditions, human boundary, recovery path, and pilot measures. Consider a fictional supplier quote intake. A request arrives with an email and drawing. An estimator checks completeness, looks up the customer and part, asks for missing information, assembles a comparison, and sends a response after owner review. Do not give the agent the job, handle quotes. A bounded first job could be gather the permitted inputs into a draft packet, flag missing or conflicting fields, and stop for estimator review. The output is the packet and exception list. The evidence is the saved file, source links, and successful readback. Commercial judgment and external sending stay with the owner. A completed map does not obligate you to automate. You may discover that the best next move is removing a duplicate approval, fixing a system field, standardizing an input, clarifying ownership, or changing a handoff. If the workflow has no reliable inputs, no accountable owner, and no checkable output, an agent will inherit that uncertainty. If an agent does belong, implement one loop at a time. Test normal cases and exceptions. Compare the result with the baseline. Then make an explicit decision: continue, revise, hold, or stop. NIST's AI risk management framework begins its practical work by establishing context. GAO's accountability framework connects governance, data, performance, and monitoring. Both point toward the same operating truth. A system needs a clear purpose, known inputs, accountable people, measurable performance, and ongoing evidence. Your workflow map is not the whole governance program. It is the first useful control. Follow one case. Tell the truth about the exceptions. Measure the current work. Name the authority boundary. Then give the agent only the part it can perform and prove. That is how you move from an AI idea to a decision-ready workflow. If you want help turning one difficult workflow into a measured implementation brief, start a free fit conversation at richardsonappliedai.com.